These are your data type and field property notes. When we talk about data types are they're in design view. You'll get, or you can also find them on your home ribbon where you can decide what type of data it is, such as is it short text, long text, is it a date, is it a number, is it a hyperlink, those type of things. But that lets you know, gives you more control over your database and how you're going to use the numbers. Numbers, any type of number like zip code, phone number, anything like that should be, the data type for that should be number, because when it comes to sorting it will not sort correctly if you have it as text. So any type of number, make sure that you format it, the data type, as number. And that's why data types are important. If you could look over here to the left, we sorted this in descending order, and because the data type was as text and not as a number, it did not sort correctly. Yes, 6 came first, but this is 6 months, not 6 years. And that should be at the bottom. And over here to the right with the adoption dates, because this was formatted as the date data type, then you this was formatted correctly in ascending order. As you can look down and you'll see that, of course, all of them were 2009, but if you look at the months, they went correctly as well. So make sure that you give it the correct data type. This is what it looks like in design view. When you go to design view, this is what your design view looks like. These would be your field names that you would see in your data sheet view. They each have a data type beside them. You must choose the data type. These are some of the different data types that you would use. Down here at the bottom is the field size. So that means for company, which is going to be chosen as short text, it can have 255 characters. After 255 characters, you can no longer type in that field, so you would need to come back and adjust how many characters that you'd have. You have format, input mask, caption. We will get to all of these a little later. Your format, of course, would format it. If it was numbers, you could choose different formats. Input mask, we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Caption, what this does is if my name is company, but I wanted to put company for the field name, but I want something else to show up. Whatever you put in caption overrides what is in the field name. So if I came down here for caption and put monkey, then monkey would show up instead of company. Okay? These are some of the different field types, data types here. Short text means it's going to be a text that you're not going to type a lot of text in that field. Long text means you are. If it's a number, you choose the number data type. Date and time, if it's going to be date and time. Currency, of course, if it's money. Auto number, if you want it to automatically number the stuff for you. For example, you want it to number 1, the next record's going to be 2, the next one's going to be 3, then you would choose auto number. Yes, no, and then lookup wizards, and we'll get to these in a few minutes. Lookup wizard is a lot like a drop-down box that we've done before. And yes, no was like if you're checkbox, but then you would have it do yes or no. Again, data types just make your formatting and make your putting things in ascending, descending order gives you more control over your database. If you don't put a data type for there, the automatic default is text. So if you don't choose one, then it will give you text. But if in order to do your sorting and not have problems with sorting, calculations, things like that, make sure you put in the data type and put in the correct data type. One of the things we talked about was an input mask, and that was in design view. If you go to create an input mask, the input mask wizard will pop up. And then you can choose what it is. For example, if I'm going to use phone number, then you would select phone number. What the input mask does is it comes up, you can see this example up here, it comes up with all the parentheses and the hyphen in here, so all you have to do is type the number. So it's like a little template but within a cell. An example of field properties, here's your input mask. You can go to format. For each type, different things will show up down here. This is for date and time. So you would have an input mask that shows up here. You could choose the way you wanted it to format. Text would show up a little different because it would tell you how many characters you'd have. But depending, these are your field properties down here at the bottom. Depending on what data type you've chosen, depends on what shows up in your field properties. These are some more of the field properties. Again, field size tells you how many characters you can have. Formatting if it's going to be currency, those type of things. Input mask, are you going to format it for a zip code, a phone number, those type. Caption, what do you want your name to do? Do you want it to be override? We'll be doing allow zero length and indexed and those type of things a little later. These are the steps in creating a database. The first thing you have to do before you do anything else is to plan the structure of your database. What am I going to have in it? What are my field names going to be? How many records am I going to have? What's the name of my database? Once you have you decided that, then you'll open and you save your database. Once you've saved and named your new database, then you're going to create a table, entering your field name, selecting your data type, setting your field properties. The very last thing that you do in a database is to actually enter the data. So remember, plan, save, create, enter, and then enter your data.